Hi there, you're listening to A Founder's Life, where my guests and myself share their entrepreneurial journey and their methods for a balanced life. I'm joined here today by Hema Dey. Thank you for joining us today. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi Leo, thanks for having me. My name's Hema Dey. I own a marketing agency in Orange County, California. It's called Iffel International. Really passionate about what I do and happy to be on your show, Leo, and really fascinated by your background as well. And Founder's Life seems like something a lot of people dream about doing, but we're doing it, and it's nice that you're sharing our experiences so that it might inspire someone, or it might peel back some blind spots for some others.
Thank you. I think you're right. It's hopefully sharing experiences. It's letting people know the what's and all is as you know, it's never easy being a founder, especially a founder with a family. What for you? Do you want to talk about? So you have a son, I believe.
I have two kids. I've got a 15-year-old daughter who's turning 16 shortly. This month, later this month, and then I've got a 9-year-old son. And yeah, I'm a single mother, a proud single mother. So I don't see it as a bad thing, but it comes with a set of challenges that, there are good days and bad days, and love my job, love my company, love my team, but I'm only human, right? Well, we're only human as founders.
And what does a typical day look like for you?
That's a good question. I wake up at 5 a.m., get to work a little bit before breakfast is served, and then get my 9-year-old ready for school, and then my daughter after that. When school runs, it starts around 7 a.m. So between 5 and 7, I'm working, catching up on things that I couldn't do the day before the phone starts going off, and then get the kids to school. I'm kind of clear at about 9 a.m. to start my life as opposed to the kids' life. Yeah, so from 9 till about 6, I put my head down and I'm working on networking with other professionals. I'm very thankful because I have help. I have a nanny who comes in and picks up the kids so that I can be in two places. She helps me. I can't be in two places at the same time, but once dinner is done, I used to put the kids to bed and then come back and work till about 2 a.m. But recently, a couple of years ago, my doctor told me that if I continue that kind of a pace, I'll probably end up with a heart attack or a stroke. And he told me that unconditionally that I should get 7 to 8 hours sleep. And so I've been doing that. So I go to bed. I call it my grandma hours. I go to bed at about 8, 9 o'clock just to unwind and then fall asleep. And I'm getting my 7 to 8 hours. And it makes a huge difference in my decision making and just health in general. So that's pretty much my day, rinse and repeat, and some relaxation time on the weekends, yeah.
And I think you are right, and your doctor's right. Sleep is really important.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things. I've never understood these entrepreneurs who say, "Oh, I can manage on 3 or 4 hours of sleep a night." I've always liked. I think it was Jeff Bezos who says he needs 8 hours of sleep a night. Mm-hmm. We need sleep. It's what gives us a chance to recover and prepare for the next day.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I aim for 7 hours. If I'm really lucky, I'll get 7.5. And last night I got 5.5 hours. But generally around 7 is for me what I've noticed my body needs to perform well.
Yes, I think so too. I think the fact that when I was younger, I had an international career and sleep was not that important because I was jet setting around the whole world. But as I became a mother, you start off by feeding the baby every 2 hours and not getting sleep really for a few years. It takes a toll at some point. I mean, your body can only take so much, right? And as aging happens too, it's important. It's important to put health first as the core of that work-life balance.
And what else for you takes part of health?
Eating well. I think that nutrition, and I used to cook really heavy stuff. Like my dad's Indian, my mom's Chinese, so we love food, and educating myself on things like vegetables, for example, that have high carbohydrates versus vegetables that don't, or nightshades that can cause autoimmune reactions to the body, or gluten, which is a natural inflammatory for your body. So I'm trying to abstain from those kinds of things just because I do feel better. I do feel more energized. And along with exercise, I go to the gym. I try to do strength training. And I used to be able to just lose weight by skipping a meal here and there, but now it's a lot harder. And I think the other bit that for women anyway is the level of cortisol in the body with stress and not enough sleep. It really affects the metabolic rate and fat gain and mindset. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that I kind of look at. But one of the things, Leo, that I love doing is laughing. In fact, I just took a stand-up comedy class at an improv nearby, and laughing's the best medicine, I think. And that's my signature for just keeping up with everything, because stress, trials and tribulations will come, but laughing is free. It's free. You don't need a therapist, and there's many stand-up comedy videos that you can watch and just entertain yourself. So sometimes I just go to bed doing that, watching videos with comedy. Yeah.
Nice. We're going to see you up on some stand-up comedy?
I would love that at some point in my career, yes. I'm actually using it a lot in my strategic planning work, because I find that CEOs and C-suite executives, they come with this heavy burden of performance. And when you shake it loose with some humor, it's amazing what people can actually, they can go lateral, they can go horizontal in their thinking, and all of a sudden it's an infinite mindset that kicks in. So, no, I love it. I love the fact that, I think it's a gift. I bring humor to the table.
So laughter's the best medicine.
I think so. Did you used to read Reader's Digest? It used to say that in there, laughter's best medicine. Yeah.
That's great. I love that. And talk to us about both your work. You gave a very brief overview when you introduced yourself, but talk about your work now and some of your background. You've had some pretty high-powered career.
Let me start with the background so that it kind of leads into my story. I grew up in Malaysia, in a little town called Seremban, which is not far from Kuala Lumpur. My dad is Indian and my mom's Chinese, and it's now common, but back then it wasn't, this mixed marriage. And we're called Chindians in Malaysia. So I'm the oldest of 3 kids, and we grew up there. And as we headed into, high school and getting ready for university, my parents applied to be citizens of Australia and New Zealand, because it's really expensive as an international student to go. Let me back up a little bit. There are not that many opportunities in Malaysia, because the university seats are sectioned off by way of quota of what race and ethnicity you belong to. So because Dad's Indian, I am under the third minority. So I had to be the best of the best with millions of people, and I was, but but the actual recognition of degrees locally were not internationally recognized. So a lot of Asian parents try and get their kids into an overseas university, like in the US or UK, Australia or New Zealand. And my dad and mom saved up for that, and they were both school teachers. So it was a tall order for them. But since the age of 3, Leo, my very first love is people. Mom and Dad couldn't stop me from talking to anyone on the street, and had to reel me back. And I knew from then I really wanted to do something that involved people. And I loved languages, and I love food. Malaysia is the land of food and cuisine. And when they applied for Australia and New Zealand, we got rejected by the Australian government. But Dad got accepted by the New Zealand government to come in. So we migrated to New Zealand as a family and settled in Christchurch. And I had the opportunity to go to a college of education to be a teacher or business school and become an accountant because my dad wanted me to be an accountant. I quietly went and changed it a few months afterwards to marketing, and I'm so glad I did, although Dad wasn't too impressed at the time. So while I was studying, I picked up papers in international marketing and management. Loved it. Loved Lincoln University, which is where I'm an alumni from. And I was groomed by the high-tech manufacturing sector there to really understand how manufacturers work. And, I didn't know how they worked. And so I would work nights in a production line. We made two-way communication radios. It's called Tate Electronics. I don't know if you heard of them. But I would learn how to deal with people in the different departments. And when you start to engage people in the production line versus the management teams and then middle management teams, it was a real eye-opener for me that, I had to customize myself at each level. But my boss at the time said, Hema, you seem to get on really well with the engineers. I said, yeah, I kind of like what they're doing in there. I guess I was one of the geeks at the end of the day. And it was a marketing manager, and he said, can you put together a brochure on that new product that they've come up with? And so I did, and my little internship, and I put it together along with writing an ISO 9001 manual. And then he says, this is pretty accurate. Made a few tweaks. And he said, go out and see the prospect. I said, what? Go out and see a client? Me? I was such a young Hema then. And yeah, he said, go out and see the client. And so I did. I said, do I just talk about the product, or what do I say? I was just so green. And he says, just be yourself, Hema. Just go out, be yourself. I came back with the purchase order. That was the start of it. And then I was headhunted into a different role to head up customer service and sales for an electronic contract manufacturing company called EDAC Systems. And that just went on from one role to another role to another role. And I had great mentors, Leo, that really shaped an international career. So I had the opportunity to work in 35 different countries with expatriate roles in Paris, London, and Shanghai. And the only reason I started my company in 2006 was, the fact that I was in my early 30s and I had to make a decision to either be a mom or climb the corporate ladder. Because I was in tech and high-tech manufacturing, there were not a lot of females in my space. And I guess, with no disrespect to my bosses then, when I said I wanted to be a mom, I guess they felt like they just couldn't say, Hema, go to Brazil, or Hema, go to Denmark, or Hema, go here, and Hema, go there, and close that deal. But that was the feeling I got. So I said, bugger this, I'm going to start my own company. I called it Iffel International, and I wanted to be the head of sales and marketing for companies that don't have a marketing department. But because I was so hands-on with the implementation of it all, I wanted to create a team that understood the meaning of project management, and 99% of the game is in the execution of the strategy. So that's where my vision came from, and then I birthed SEO to Sales, which is the fusion of Google with traditional marketing. And now, of course, we've got ChatGPT and Copilot and Meta and all these people, and it's a fascinating journey. But I hope that it answers your question, Leo.
It does. It sounds like quite some journey.
Yeah, it was great. It was really cool.
Sounds like you lucked out with your first boss, who really helped push you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, and you know what? He was a white Kiwi gentleman. So, in fact, all my bosses were white male Kiwis, except for one, which was a white woman, Kiwi woman. And all of them were very supportive of my journey internationally. And it's just fascinating how I can't thank them enough, because otherwise I wouldn't have seen the world.
Now, the question is these days, can you stop working? Are you good at switching off?
You know, Leo, my kids say that to me. Said, Mom, why don't you just stop working and take a break and stuff like that? And friends say to me, Hema, you're working way too much. And the truth is, Leo, I don't see my work as work. I see it as a hobby. It's therapeutic. So, I mean, one could say that's a bit crazy or nutty, but I think a founder of any company who is disliking what they're doing will find it a big burden. It's hard to wake up in the morning and just initiate business deals, initiate calls, initiate ideas and create creations or innovation, right? So I don't see it as work. I see it as medicine for the soul. Yeah, and I really mean that, because I think parenting is a lot harder. I think the navigation of the teenager and then my 9-year-old girl versus boy and all of that, I do take the time to read and try and study how to be a better parent. But I find that to be a lot more of a job than my actual business.
Interesting. I think as an entrepreneur, hopefully most people love what they do. That doesn't mean you love every aspect. We've all got plenty of parts of our job that we really don't feel like doing.
Yes.
But overall, loving what you do. I think, from my perspective, that the best thing you can do for kids is being present. You know, it's the time I've spent with my kids, and I continue to spend. Mine are a little older than yours. Mine are 19 and 22 now. Mm-hmm. But it's being able to be present when you're with them and give them that undivided time. And that's what's precious. That's what's precious personally to me and to the kids.
Agreed. And that's the beauty of, I guess, being a founder and an owner of a company. I navigate my time and I choose when to spend that time with them. Doesn't mean that you're not working, but it's setting those priorities on your calendar. Yeah. And I agree, you got to be present with them.
Definitely. And what you just said, I 100% agree with, which is setting priorities on your calendar.
Yeah.
So I often say to people, you know, it's good to schedule that time. You know, actually my son's gone off to college now, although he was here for Thanksgiving last week, but I often schedule time with my son. Like when he was around, I blocked out every afternoon because I know that he likes to work out with me. Over COVID, for 4 years, we worked out every afternoon. So I didn't do calls after 4:30 in the afternoon because I knew that was the time that I was spending with my son. So that was blocked out in my calendar. I think, you know, it's important to block those things out because otherwise our calendar gets so full so quickly, especially in the world of sending out Calendlies.
Yeah, and that's one reason why I don't do Calendly, because I want to be more in control of the carving out of work and time with the kids. In fact, my calendar looks like Tetris. I've got a color code for clients, I've got a color code for my daughter, my son, and then my dog, and then friends. But then my family are back in New Zealand. So I try to, you know, make sure that I get some time as well with them on Zoom or on WhatsApp. Yeah.
That's cool. I love the color coding. And how long have you been in the US?
Used to fly in and out for work, but I migrated here in 2007.
So the kids were both born in the US?
Yeah, yes.
And what, on either a personal business or both, what sort of been a pivotal moment for you in your life?
So let's go back to the work bit. Of course, having my kids is pivotal. And that's a given, and I'm learning every day with them. But because of my love for people, Leo, one of the biggest joys for me is creating jobs. And if I can help a business grow with getting more sales revenue, that means they will be able to employ more people. And I used to come back with purchase orders when I was in my corporate jobs going international. I used to get hugs from the people in the production line because they got overtime. And they would tell other, their family members, and we would meet up at Christmas time for the workplace get-togethers, and people would say, thank you. Thank you for giving us the opportunity for more work. And there was a time where the company was thinking of shutting down. And I carry that through every case right now, Leo, that I work on. And if I look at a cause in what I do, is to bring a little bit more fun through my humor. But at the end of the day, people have bills to pay, and they need a job. And if you have that perspective as a business owner, then we're aligned in values, because the flip of that is that someone doesn't want to work, of course. But for those who want to work, the opportunity presents itself when you work at connecting the dots with what people need and want and what problems they have. With that said, in 2013, New Zealand awarded me World Class New Zealander. And that was a very special but meaningful moment for me, because I'll never forget the production line staff and the letters that I used to get saying, thank God you're here, Hema, because the company was going to shut down. And yeah, I worked with a lot of passion, but I would say that has set the stage for touching people in a different way. Some people do it, by charity. I guess for me, it's about creating jobs. And while I'm here in the United States, I'm very much about creating jobs in the U.S. as much as possible.
That makes sense, and I think it's certainly plenty of opportunities to create jobs here.
Yeah.
But you need it, maybe is a better way of putting it. How does a balanced life look for you, and how does that flow? Because no one's permanently in any kind of balance. So how does that look?
A balanced life is something I'm continuously massaging and improving on. At the end of the day, I'm a single parent with no other pillars around me financially for help. And so as long as I can get my bills paid, my payroll done, and my kids happy with whatever they need, somehow that's a foundation that helps me set that balance, right? But of course, from a softer standpoint, I go to the gym. I love comedy, but the other thing I never shared with you is that I love Latin dancing. And so whenever I get the opportunity to do that, I go out and do my salsa and merengue and cumbia. With my travels, Leo, I fell in love with Spanish and French. And so when I get together with friends, it's just nice to practice languages with people. But I don't think I've actually mastered the art of balancing life per se. But tell you what, it's good when you're able to pay all your bills and have a jolly good time and book some trips here and there and enjoy it with people you love, and my children. And so I think that's how I kind of calculate it. Yeah.
And I think it's you seem to have a good balance there, and I love the sort of some of the things you like to do for fun, whether it be comedy or dancing.
Yes.
Hanging with friends.
Yeah, cooking's great too, and wine. I love my wine. Oh, I've started learning how to do cocktails. I do mixology recipes, and it's so nice. It just takes away some of the monotony from the day, right?
You just have to invite your friends by who want to have cocktails, not just wine.
That's right, yes. Or we could start with the cocktails and finish up with wine and dinner.
And is there anything else you'd like to share today?
Talking with you today, Leo, has really brought back quite a few memories of my past, and it feels good. It feels like a long journey, but it feels like it was just yesterday. But a sense of accomplishment, a sense of being happy, actually, very happy.
It does sound like you've had a good journey so far, and
Yes.
still young, so lots more journeys to be had.
I just turned 50 this year, Leo.
Yeah, as someone who's 51, you're still young.
Yeah, I see that too. I see myself as young, but it's interesting when I was in my teens, I used to say 50, that's old, and here I am.
people are living longer now, living more healthy.
Yes.
I think that has changed. I think the definition of middle-aged has changed.
Yes, that's good that you endorsed that statement, Leo. But you know what, Leo? I'm not afraid of the age bit. I think that age is only a number. I think that regardless of how old I am, I think the same passions will continue. And the foundation of that is my love for people from all walks of life. And that's why I do the D&I work that I do. And, you know, a lot of people are very hung up on the acronym. But the truth is that it's an initiative that really promotes togetherness, not judging one another, having respect for people and meeting them where they're at in their journey in life. And I think if everyone could just practice that, I think the place will be a lot more peaceful. The world will be a lot more peaceful.
Yeah, and opening up the opportunities for everyone.
Yes, I think so. I really believe in that.
Me too. And how can people find you?
Well, I have a website. It's Iffel International, IFFEL International.com. And I only want to work with, I want to hear from people who really want to grow their businesses, because I take my cases very seriously. Like I say, I want to create those jobs for people. So if the business owner or the founder is ready to invest, not just the money, but the hard work that comes with growing a business, and it's not going to be a part-time role, it's going to be full-time plus initially, then yeah, absolutely, IffelInternational.com, and I will respond. Or my team members will respond, and we are very much a marketing and technology company with a sales mindset. I welcome anyone from anywhere in the world.
Well, thank you, Hema, for joining today, and inspirational to hear your journey.
Thank you, Leo, for having me.
And thank you, everyone, for listening to today's episode. If you've enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, tell your friends, and leave a review.